Hi everyone. This is like the very first installment of this is going to be like our review, our little review segment. We're going to have some video game reviews on YouTube here. I'm Dale Coolis, alongside my brother Joey Coolis.
Hello everybody.
We're just going to be kind of going through our game collection here, reviewing games. We're kind of starting our first game on an older game, came out about a little over a year ago, FLATOUT Ultimate Carnage on the Xbox 360. In the future here, we're going to be maybe reviewing more recent games, so please leave comments, let us know what you think. Alright, so Joey, FLATOUT Ultimate Carnage. Why are we choosing this as our very first game to review?
It is purely pretty awesome of a game overall. I mean, it has a couple faults, but overall, you know, it's a really fun game, a racer anyone can play, and just like any game, you can be really good at it or really bad.
Well, let's get into it. You know, this is the third game in the FLATOUT series. It's FLATOUT Ultimate Carnage. There was FLATOUT 1 and FLATOUT 2 on PS2 and Xbox. Ultimate Carnage is exclusive to the 360. You know, how did you like the previous FLATOUTs? Just real quick, what did you think of them?
I liked FLATOUT 1 a lot, even though it was a little simple at the time. I mean, it shared all the qualities that the other two installments had, and I mean, sometimes it was a little hard to control your car, but overall it was a pretty sweet game. And then FLATOUT 2, it was the same thing. And then, I mean, something that both of them have always been famous for too is the mini games of launching your guy through crazy obstacles, or
the stunt mode,
dart boards with glass as like the little points, and just crazy stuff like that's always fun. But the driving's always been great.
Yeah. For me, yeah. I like both FLATOUT games. I'm just a big fan of derby racing games. There's usually not that many. You'll usually see a few of them. There's a few of them on old Xbox and PS2. There was Test Drive Eve of Destruction, which is probably my favorite derby racing game on the last generation. Also, both FLATOUT games, which were fun. They had some issues, I thought, but I thought they were still pretty fun. And then there was Totaled also.
Oh yeah, I can't forget that.
Totaled was that game had some issues too, but you know, being a derby racer nut, I liked it. I was able to oversee some of its flaws.
Except the loading time.
Yeah, the loading time.
It had the loading time of the PS2, which was terrible.
Yes. All right, so you know, let's start things off with the review about the controls. Does this? No, I had some issues with like the previous FLATOUT games. I know you always said the racing's great, but for me, sometimes just steering and cornering and handling of vehicles, no matter what the vehicle rating is, it can always be a little touchy, a little loose. I thought it's easy to lose control of your vehicle.
Yeah, that's something like I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. And FLATOUT 1, there was some parts like you're gonna hit this box, and it looks like just a regular box, and you're gonna lose complete control, which was ridiculous in the first one. Or like you're gonna hit a tire and it's just going to lose control, and it's like, okay. And then in the second one, they got a little bit better at that. And then also in Ultimate Carnage here, sometimes it still gets a little crazy, but...
Well, let's get into that. The cool thing about FLATOUT, I thought, too, is all the environments are totally destructible. You can, like, if you crash into a stack of tires or fencing, all the parts, like, just kind of litter the road, and makes it more of an obstacle to get past the road. It makes any part of the environment interactive, and you can kind of use it to your advantage or disadvantage. I kind of like it too, because you're racing through some tracks in the city, or like in the country, you could race through farmhouses or through malls. Totally mess things up.
Yeah, and then the game also encourages it too, because that way you get more boost, and the more boost you get, the faster you can go.
That's right. The more hits you deliver, and the more the bigger jumps you get, and the more damage you deal, more environment you destroy, you get more boost.
And just like I said earlier too, you can have to be really good at this game or really bad. If you're someone that likes to play it safe, be a good driver, you're going to be okay at this game. But if you're good at controlling your car through hitting tires and just fences and all that stuff, and you can get the boost to really give you that extra advantage. So it's a little bit hard to control your car at times, like you mentioned, but you can really be good at this game if you know what you're doing.
I thought as the FLATOUT games have come out with FLATOUT 2 and now Ultimate Carnage, I thought the controls got a little better. Like with each game, it's like the controls aren't as loose as the previous installment, but it's still there. It's still noticeable. Like you said, sometimes if you just hit, like you're just demolishing everything, it seems like you're on a non-stop path. And like of course, if you hit a wall, you know, obviously they'll stop you, but sometimes, like you said, if you just run over one little tire or crate blocking your way, it'll just completely slow you down unexpectedly.
Yeah, and I mean, in general, it's not too bad, but
it's not terrible, but it does kind of tarnish the experience from time to time.
Sometimes.
I mean, it's not as bad as before, but it's there.
The only, I guess, one issue I wouldn't mind mentioning too is in FLATOUT, if you're only doing like 1-2 lap race, you won't notice it really. But once you hit something like tires, once you hit them again, it doesn't give you that boost. I think there should have been 2 modes of racing. I mean, how they have it, and then something called maybe revamp or rehit or something like that. So whenever you hit those things again, you still get that boost from them. And, I mean, like, you'll see rows of tires, you know, usually hit them all and then they kind of go everywhere, scattered like Dale mentioned. But, I mean, even though if you don't hit a couple of them, it should give you just a little bit of boost, because there's a lot of times where you're hitting stuff and it might mess your driving up a little bit, but you don't get any of that boost. I kind of feel ripped off at times. But
yeah.
When you do like the 5 race laps and...
Yeah, that's... Sometimes you kind of got to balance it out. If you spend too much time trying to, you know, deliver big hits or trying to smash up the environment, it'll slow you down more often than not, and the boost you get won't be enough to make up for it. So you kind of got to balance it out and find a good mix there. So, yeah, overall, I think, you know, the racing itself, it's fine. It's a little better from previous games, but, you know, there's still some work. But, you know, let's talk about the modes they have to offer. It's kind of like the same slate of modes from the previous games. I kind of consider this kind of like a FLATOUT 2 Deluxe Edition, kind of. They may have introduced some new modes and tweaked some other modes. I don't know if you felt the same way, Joey. Or did you feel like it was enough new stuff to be like a full-on sequel?
I kind of thought it was enough new stuff, I guess, to be a sequel. It was I don't know, I mean, you got the new levels and all that stuff, so, I mean, in today's series, you know, maybe you add 1 or 2 features and then you get a lot of new levels or environments just depending on the game, so, or game type.
True. Well, we got FLATOUT mode. Why don't you fill people in on what FLATOUT mode is like? I know you spend a lot more time in it than I did. I put some time into it.
That's just like the regular racing, right? You mean, like the story?
Yeah, you got... Well, it's not really a story.
It's not storyline, but... Well, you got your first class, which is just like junker racing, like your classic demolition.
You got your derby class,
yeah,
your street class, and your race class.
Yeah, and in your derby class, though, it's just, you know, you got your beater cars that you can upgrade throughout the, I don't know what to call it, I guess the FLATOUT mode, you know.
Yeah.
You can upgrade them with the money that you earn, and you actually need to upgrade them or buy new cars because...
Keep tricking out your garage.
Because the farther you go, the harder it gets, you can go get better cars. And then in the street mode, it's pretty fun too, but you get more of like your, you know, street cars and a little bit. The only thing I didn't really like about the FLATOUT mode is that in the derby class you got, you know, a lot of farmland and dirt roads.
Yeah.
A lot of classic
and
construction derby type racing stuff. And then when it goes to street, you get a lot
city
of
racing.
Yeah, it's city racing, which is still fun because, you know, you just obliterate the crap out of each other's cars, but I don't know.
You like racing on dirt tracks?
Yeah,
maybe?
you have too much traction on the streets, and like how you said, you know, it can be kind of bad on the handling sometimes. At times, that's what makes it interesting. Where on the street mode, you go on a lot of streets, and it's just, this is fun, but
yeah,
it's a little too easy to maneuver at times.
Yeah, definitely. Then you got your race class, which
is just
kind of like the same thing almost.
It's kind of the same thing. I think there's 1 or 2 dirt levels throughout the street, but in the race, I think you get a couple more dirt levels there, and then you have a bigger variety of like more raced up cars. It's a little bit more derby and street maxed out cars. Of course, the fastest.
And there's dirt, and then